Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more racing here in High Velocity Racing. I am joined, of course, again tonight by Mr. Raymond Hanneman up here in the booth. Excited to call this truck race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This race is going to go one of two ways. We'll see which one of those two ways that it'll end up going, but looking forward to it. We were just here a couple weeks ago in the Cup Series, and it was a fun race to be a part of, so we're back again, and I'm going to adjust this camera here. There we go. It's fun to be a part of and fun to join, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully these guys can, get settled in here tonight and, get a good rhythm and, just go from there, because Bristol is a track that can definitely catch you off guard if you're not, you're not ready. So we have a chance of seeing a lot of caution laps being had here tonight. The pace car has the potential of leading most laps, but only one way to find out, and that's to get onto it.
Yeah, especially with what 140 laps tonight, 30 drivers on the field currently doing practice laps, and I've been looking at it for the last couple of minutes here as you were talking, doing the intro, and there's a lot of cars getting into each other and a lot of people spinning out. So with David Meacham, doing the fast lap in practice right now, and as I say that, Travis George spins out on the front stretch as everyone's practicing trying to get the lines down. It's going to be a fun one tonight, and definitely very hectic for all the drivers out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it. But like you said, there's definitely some calamity out there at this moment in time. There's a couple drivers that are having some issues navigating their way around the track, but all in all, it's all good. It is part of it, and as long as they get it sorted out before that green flag drops, then that's all that really matters. But we got about a minute left here in practice before these guys are set to qualify. David Meacham right now. We will go ahead and transfer it on over to the live iRacing screen here. David Meacham right now is your pole sitter if we're going off time in qualifying here. So we'll see if he's able to maintain that pace and maintain that speed for the actual qualifying session. Of course, qualifying is a little bit different than running in practice. The optimal tire temp and everything like that, usually doesn't kick in until about, anywhere between the 5 to really 10 lap window in these cars. So finding that line of pushing it and qualifying is slightly different than it is here in practice. So we'll see if he can hold on to that top spot here as practice is coming to a close here.
And just to prove that too, I mean, look at the Cup Series at the Friday at Sonoma. I qualified last. Ended up pretty much by stage 2 able to figure out my line and keep my tires good and be able to run top 3, right? So there's the qualifying pace and actual race pace are completely different here, especially if we get a lot of green flags. And
not too sure what the fuel level will be for tonight. I haven't really checked out on the trucks itself, but getting into qualifying right now and see who can put up the fastest lap, Bryce.
Yeah, so I got some inside information here. Fuel is, excuse me, more than likely not going to come into factor at all at any point in this race. 75 laps here to a tank. I'll pull up the race information really quick. First stage is at 35, and the second stage is at lap 70. So fuel really not going to be a factor tonight, but let's see who we can't try to find out here on track. Got a couple guys out here. We'll go with a Tennessee native, the number 53 of Chris Weiniger. We'll see what he's able to do in qualifying here. You see he does have the pink banner on the truck, so that does indicate that he is a playoff driver. Right now, his teammate Travis George on the pole. Chris, so far right now, gets
14.69.
Yeah, Travis George with a 14.4. Top on board with Bobby Grady. I know he's a driver that has some pace.
Drivers in the 14.7 currently, as you got drivers in the 14.6, 14.5 category, as Meacham's P2 currently with a 14.6 flat.
And again, Meacham was the fastest in practice, but so far Travis George holds on to it. Like I said, we still have some fast trucks yet to make their way. Patrick Camburn jumps up to the third place spot. We'll see where Grady ends up here. I believe this is going to be coming to his second lap.
Tucker with the 14.585. That's P2 for him currently.
Yeah, I'm missing all the the runners. So Grady stays about where he's at in the 8th place spot. Sean Happick running his laps now. Travis George still at the point with a 14.54. Sean Happick gets his way up with a 14.64.
I like what John Shields did here in the 98 truck. He was able to take it a little slower on his outlap, get that run off the banking, and he's in for a burner right now. He's coming to his first time lap.
Yeah, I like saving that for the second lap because you don't get a whole lot of grip. But I mean, that puts him P14 right now. So this is going to be his money lap here as he comes off a 2. It's a good, nice entry in turn 3, riding that middle line. He's going to cut it down. Let's see if he can improve that position here. He does by 1 spot, which is going to count. And, you know, with how we are projecting this race to go, track position is going to be very important here tonight. And
Dustin Bloodworth hopping into P5 of the 14.64.
Yeah, he comes out. And I do know to race point, we do have about 30 drivers on track, but because of the IPL penalty sheet, there are quite a few drivers that are barred from qualifying. But Thomas Long on his, I don't know if he's just running practice or if he is getting in some laps. It looks like he showed 13, yeah, and he's winding it down. So I believe that's more than likely going to do it for our eligible qualifiers. So sit tight with us. We're going to go ahead and give these drivers a quick drivers meeting before the qualifying session ends. So sit tight, and we will be back here in just a moment. And alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We got these drivers all talked to and got everything going. So hopefully we're going to be in for a good show tonight. But now let's go ahead and start with our grid here tonight. Your pole position qualifier here is going to be the number 16 of Travis George. Starting on his outside, we've got the number 7 of Bryce Tucker in the W Ford F-150, followed by David Meacham and Patrick Camburn. Gotta find out where all these trucks just went. There we go. A little bit of a issue there. Had some inclement weather coming through. Starting in P number 4, we've got the 84 of Patrick Camburn, followed by Dustin Bloodworth and Sean Happick rounding out row number 3. In row 4, we've got Andy Berry, followed by the number 53 on his outside of Chris Weininger, and rounding out your 5th row here for tonight, we've got the 34 of Kendon Cook and the number 1 of Bobby Grady. In row number 6, we've got the number 5 of Danny Gross, followed by the 45 of Corey Moore on his outside. And in row number 7, we've got Thomas Long and John Shields. Starting in P15, another Tennessee native, the number 9 of Mike Kufel, with the number 60 of Brad Doer on his outside here tonight. In row number 9, we've got the number 14 of Kean Fry, gaining some momentum here at this part of the season. We'll see if he can carry that through tonight, with the number 29 of Zachary Tyler on his outside. Sean Wilder and Hunter Jock rounding out row number 10 here at Bristol, followed by CTS Motorsport driver number 19 of Andre Carvalho, and our fellow friend and broadcaster number 31 of Matthew Chase from Shell Shockers Motorsports, starting in the 11th row. Brandon Dayhoff and Greg Moss going to be rounding out row number 12 here, followed by Ryan Seabolt and Aaron Creighton. Frank Zimmel and Kyle Rogers going to be rounding out your last official row of 2 cars. And Gary White is rounding out the field. It looks like he's yet to make his way onto the grid, but he is going to be starting in P29. So that is your field for tonight. Now, I know we didn't get to catch you on the podcast. Who do you got your money on tonight?
Oh man, there's so many good drivers out here, and you know, last week I had David Meacham, and very close to get that, but I think this week I'm actually really surprised with Bloodworth. I think if he keeps his truck clean, he's in a really good spot right now. Good pit stall for the green flag pit. I mean, I'm not going to have any green flag pits, but for stages and whatnot, keeping that truck clean, I think he's in a really good spot to come away with this.
Yeah, he's definitely shown some speed over the course of the season, and you know, again, like you said, I mean, track position here going to be really important, and especially if this race doesn't stay green, tires may not be an option at all or a necessity at all, depending on how things go. I think I talked about it a little bit briefly on the podcast on Friday, but did a money race here about a month and a half or so back, and I think it was an 80-lap race, but me and the guy that finished in second, we were first and second all night and never had to take tires because we didn't get a lot of runs. So we'll see if that's something that plays into effect tonight. But all in all, I see the 5 lights here on the top of the screen, which means these drivers are going to get their engines started and they're going to head out on track. Of course, it being a short track, we're going to have 2 pace laps before we go to green flag racing, but I'm looking forward to it, man. Bristol, again, is a track that it can be a grueler, man, especially with this many cars out there as well. The high speed short track, the big banks, vision gets hard, and it's definitely a track that can wear you out if you don't have a good hearty meal in your stomach there. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see who is able to outlast and really just withstand the heat tonight. So only time's going to tell.
I got to ask you this question, what's your go-to meal before out driving a Bristol race like this? Because, I know we've had NIS is coming up. We got the 500 lapper. These guys are only doing 140 laps tonight, but, steak and eggs. I'm getting a good breakfast meal in right before the race just to feel all that protein, good to go. What are you eating for a race like this?
Anything but, stuff that is going to make my bowels struggle, because that's a long and a hard track to have to deal with a stomach issue like that. So just try to eat something on the cleaner side to make sure that we don't have any Code Brown moments for real out there on track. But everybody's different. Some people may elect to not eat at all, and it's not a bad strategy. Of course, we had Bristol a few weeks ago, and I did 250 laps on Thursday and another 250 on Friday, and I was pretty worn out after that. So definitely needs some sort of protein and some carbs and stuff in your system. But here we go. We're about to get going. Pace car about to make its dive down pit road. Travis George, Bryce Tucker starting on your first row here in the truck series. We will see who gets a good restart. Of course, the first restart is on the flagman, and Bryce Tucker, I would say, has the advantageous position starting on the outside here. So if he can get a good launch and control the gap to Travis George on the inside, he might be able to make a run.
Pace car turns left down pit road. Green, green, green. What a jump for Travis George. Able to get that good momentum there. He's getting at least 4 truck lengths out going to turn 1. 2x2 all the way back in the field, though.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious what really is going on there with Bryce Tucker. I mean, he was about 2 truck lengths off of our race leader when the green flag dropped. So I don't know, again, if that was, down to just the lack of visibility with how high the banking is or what. But, I mean, Travis George got a hell of a restart, but, I mean, he had a hell of a gap when the green flag dropped anyway. So even more the advantage goes to him.
Just want to bring attention to one of the drivers, the truck number 19. We have a couple people coming down pit road, but truck number 19, Andre Carvalho.
Yep, Carvalho
has a black flag along with Alan Moss. Greg Allen Moss has a black flag in the 89 truck. So
yeah, so
they're
those
going to be serving those right now.
Yeah, those are penalties from accumulation of the season. I believe Andre had a restart violation last week, and then Greg Allen Moss did receive that 1-week suspension, and of course he will get his drive-through as well. So that's what those penalties are there. That's going to really hurt them at a track like Bristol with sub 15-second lap times. You're going to lose a lot of time. And again, with this being the single pit road, you've got to make your way all the way around the track at a 35-mile-an-hour pit speed. So that's going to put them at a huge detriment. But if we're able to get the cautions that we think we might get, they may not be in too bad of a spot. They might be able to get those laps back. But right now, this race is looking pretty good for the number 16 of Travis George. He's now extended that gap to almost a second and a half over Bryce Tucker in P2.
Yeah, a lot of guys battling right now as they go 2x2 pretty much everywhere. A little bit single filed out near the back of the pack as the leaders are dropping 14.5s currently. That's Travis George with the fastest lap. And they're wrecking on the front stretch. Tennessee truck. Stays green flag, though. Was that the 20? The 99?
The 98 of John Shields would be the Tennessee truck. I didn't see exactly what happened there. We'll go back and take a look at it. I do see the 29 was involved as well.
You got into trouble. Same exact exit.
Yeah, the 29, and then just kind of drifts up there a little bit into the door of the 98, and their trucks get hooked together. We'll take a look and see what happens here this time by. Yeah, the 29 just gets a little aggressive on the throttle, loops it off of the corner. So that's going to bring out our first caution of the night here on lap 11 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Very easy to do. And one thing I wanted to, kind of mention is we did see a lot of these cars have extreme fall off in the Cup car. We'll see if that comes into play. I had mentioned it, on the podcast and in the post-race interview that, our Cup Series drivers of Joe Hudson and Kevin Fry were able to do one hell of a job of just maintaining their tires over the long run. We heard it from Hudson. It was really hard for him to let all those cars pass him for about 15 to 20 laps, but then he was able to turn around and do this very same thing later in the run by
Honestly,
saving those tires.
I really think it's how you enter the turn. So I know in the real life, what people do is in turn 1 and 2, they're more taking it up top. It's like a narrower. Like Bristol's like an egg, right? 1 and 2, you're more at the peak, and then 3 and 4, you're more at the base of the egg. Kind of like a thicker bottom part. So IRL, what they'll do is they'll use the 1 and 2 at the top lane,
and then 3 and 4 they'll run that bottom, and you'll get pretty well equivalent lap times, about a 15.1, I think 14.9. I think someone set last year at around this temperature. It was late night race and whatnot, but they were able to save on their tires for a lot longer, especially the different tire compounds and whatnot. So I'm excited to see it, like, later in the run, if we get a long green flag, if we're going to see some drivers run the top in 1 and 2 and then bottom 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I mean, Bristol does get to a point where it is a multi-groove track, but there really is one line that tends to dominate, you know, in the middle and the latter half of the run. So we'll see if that comes into play. But, you know, one thing that, you know, also is really beneficial here at a track like Bristol is just really backing up your corners. I mean, you said it, with how high the baking is here, you know, entry is very important in getting that truck planted in the right spot and just making sure that you can go around the corner smoothly without having to, you know, use too much forced input. So we'll see who can manage that. And again, if that'll even come into play, if we, you know, we keep getting these 10 to 15 lap stints and then a caution, that's really going to help keep the heat down in the tires as well. So if we can get to a green flag run, tires are obviously going to be very important here tonight. But otherwise, if we stay at the pace that we're staying at right now with these cautions, then track position is going to be more important than anything else.
I don't mean to cut you off here, Bryce, but lights are off the pace car. Pace car's coming down pit road, and it's going to be a green, green, green.
Yeah, and once again, Bryce Tucker, like, he's the second car in line, but he's starting in the second row. And that's really given George, like, that much more of an advantage on these restarts. I mean, you see it there, Tucker able to get back around the 84 of Camburn, but at what expense? I mean, he's the P2 car starting in the second row. That's really going to hurt his exit, and that's a lot of ground to make up. I mean, half a second off the restart already, so he's going to have to push that truck even harder to try to close that gap.
And not just alone for him, but I think it's affecting a lot of the other drivers behind him as well. You know, a big checkup on the bottom lane there, or yeah, on the bottom lane there is Travis George able to pull off on the top and just keep rolling with it. Drivers like David Meacham, I think Chris Weiniger was behind them as well. They really had to check up on that restart going into the green flag. So hurt a lot of trucks, not just himself.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, stacks up the field there too and compromises the restart of some others. But at the end of the day, I mean, Bryce still able to hold on to P2, so he's not really worried about anybody else. He's just trying to run down the number 16 of Travis George here. But so far, it looks like everybody's pretty much single file. I don't really see any side-by-side, any battles. It looks like everybody's just trying to find their groove and catch a rhythm here and see what they can do. But let's go ahead and let's take you inside the cockpit of number 13 of David Meacham, and let's just see how extremely banked these corners are and just see how he's able to manage trying to get through some traffic here. And you can see, like Ray said, turns 1 and 2, it's kind of the opposite of Darlington a little bit there. Turns 1 and 2 going to be the tighter of the two corners. 3 and 4 opens up just a little bit, so we'll see now where, again, it looks like David Meacham is still electing to ride about the middle line in 3 and 4. Let's see where he goes up here in 1 and 2 if he elects to stay high. Yeah, so Meacham kind of running that middle groove about, you know, a lane and a half down from the wall. And yellow flag out once again. It looks like potentially number 99 of Sean Wilder involved. Let's see if that is the case. Yeah, we'll have to go back and take a look at that there. Can't really tell from that angle if Wilder came up or if Dorr came down. Let's try to take a look. We've seen this twice now already. Coming off the corner, Sean comes off of turn 4 and yeah, just kind of goes up a little bit. Maybe expects Brad Dorr to be up a little bit higher. There definitely is some room there, but Dorr is entitled to that line. It just looks that, you know, Wilder expects him to be a little bit higher up, and Dorr gets into the left, or excuse me, the right rear quarter of Sean Wilder and puts him head on with the wall. Damage doesn't look terrible on Wilder's truck, unless he got some.
I'm pretty sure you can run about 40 seconds of damage on this track and still be competitive. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's with the Cup cars only, but...
Well, I mean, yeah, different damage models, of course, for different vehicles, but I know when I had that damage in our Cup race, I believe it was with Eugene Hawk when, you know, we kind of had the net code and he got into the rear end of myself, and I think I ended up kind of getting into the wall a little bit. I'm not exactly, you know, completely remembering how it went down, but I know that I had some damage on the rear end, and it really affected the car on entry. It wasn't so much on exit or through the center, but the car was almost like wrecking loose on entry under braking. So we'll see if that's something that'll play into effect tonight. Again, the short tracks, usually damage doesn't come into too much of a factor, but with the high speeds and the high banks that we get here at Bristol, I think if this is definitely one of the short tracks that it matters a little bit more than somewhere like a New Hampshire or Martinsville or even, you know, one of those other kind of tracks that are flat and just, you know, really kind of slow on speed. So
I think I have the white flag growing.
I think that is a bug.
I'm pretty sure the I think my thing is just messed up. It is not the last lap.
No,
I don't know if you have that on your screen.
No, SDK right now is showing we are on 26 of 40. So we've got 9 to go at this point in time before we come to the stage. It's going to be a little bit of a shootout here. And I mean, it looks like about 10 to 11 laps has kind of been our window on green flags. And here again, look at Bryce Tucker just starting in the second row on the outside. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's, you know, based off of his monitor and what he looks like, but just trying to make sure he gets a good view of Travis George. But I mean, you can see the advantage that George is able to get on the restarts. And Tucker does a better job there of keeping him reeled in, but still.
2x2 all the way back. I know truck number 5, Danny Gross, had a little bit of contact under the caution there. There was about 4 cars that checked up pretty hard, and they had to be a little squirrely coming to that green flag. But nonetheless, everyone's running single file for the most part. A little bit of battles going on for 14th through 11th, if I'm not mistaken. Battles for P3 is Patrick Hamburg gets by Bryce Tucker, and Happy is trying to make a charge to the front right now.
Yeah, Happy's trying to play a little bit of defense now on the 53 of Chris Weiniger, looking to attack and try to get that 6th place spot. You can see just how powerful the top line is on the exit of the corner. Chris able to hang with him, and we see contact now as we come to the line. The 53 of Chris Weiniger gets sent to the inside wall. Truck doesn't look like it's in too bad of condition, though. We kind of saw it happen right before the camera panned away. It looks like Sean may have just gotten a little loose on the top side there, and truck kind of gets pointed down the wrong direction. And we'll take a look at it here. Yeah, Sean just gets loose off the corner and tells Chris to go F himself and hits the inside wall, but that truck's still moving, so Chris should be able to get that damage repaired and stay on the lead lap. But I do believe that it more than likely bring us to the conclusion of stage number 1 here.
I think you're right on that. Very unfortunate as oh, someone blew their motor. I heard someone blow their motor in pits. I mean, no trucks are in pits right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Did you hear that too, or no?
I did not. You're having some fun over there, I guess.
53. David Meacham coming down pit road right now.
Yeah, and I wonder if Meacham took the correct pit entrance or if he's the only one electing to pit.
Seabolt coming in as well.
Yeah,
Mike.
So a lot of takers, but these again 75 laps on fuel, so fuel not going to be an issue here at all, even coming to the conclusion of the second stage. So these guys again just looking to try to keep that track position, and you know, it's got to be said, if these guys are doing even the slightest bit of a job of maintaining their tires, they're going to be in for, you know, they're going to be good for, I mean, even the conclusion of this stage without having any issues. But let's try to see if we can dial up our stage 1 winner here, the number 16 of Travis George. It looks like he is available. Hey, Travis, this is Bryce up here in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, Bristol, it's an interesting track. We do know that you've had some success at the short tracks. Able to get the pole here and never look back here in stage number 1. How are you feeling so far about coming away with the stage 1 victory here?
I felt pretty good. You know, I put a lot of time in practicing here, so I was hoping it would pay off. I need the points after getting taken out last week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I mean, you're the perfect person to ask. How important is track position at a track like Bristol? We see a lot of the top, you know, 10 to 15 trucks staying out and not electing to pit. So how important is track position here with the amount of cars that we have here on track?
It's huge. Pretty much any small short track is going to be huge because anything can happen and you lose that track position and then it kills your groove.
Absolutely. Well, Travis, man, good luck to you here in stage number 2. We appreciate you hopping in with us and talking to us, man. We see if we'll see you again here at one of the other stages or at the end of the race. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Here, that was the number 16, and Travis George, your winner here in stage number 1, able to take the point and never look back. He's still out front there in that beautiful white and blue truck that he has. Virtual Racing School, one of the sponsors there. No Glutz, No Glory Motorsports. That must be another team. But nonetheless, 35 laps down here at Bristol, about 105 to go. And so far, I mean, the field has pretty much stayed. I would say the field has stayed the same a little bit. I mean, Matthew Chase up 12 spots. He gained some of those on pit road, and some guys down with some penalties and stuff like that. But, I mean, not a whole lot of movement. I mean, Corey Moore up 6 spots from where he started. Keaton Fry up 5 as well. But as I say, that green flag back in the air. Travis George gets another good restart. Patrick
Black
Cameron,
flag from Travis George.
No, black flag. We'll have to take a look back and see if he started maybe a little bit too early.
I was gonna say David Meacham, Mike Fell, Brad Dewar, Brandon Dayhoff, a lot of drivers here pitting in that lap 33 there. So leaders pitting this time by. Patrick Camburn's now your new race leader.
And that's going to be detrimental for the 16 and Travis George. Mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. Single road pit, 35 mile an hour, sub 15-second lap times. He's going to lose at least 2 or 3 laps with that penalty. So from the race lead towards the tail end of the field, we'll see if he's able to bounce back. But like you said, all to the benefit of the number 84, Patrick Camburn, who was able to take the win last week, looking to make it 2 in a row here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
I just want to highlight one driver right now. David Meacham, his caution's coming out, actually.
And Sean Wilder looks like may be involved in yet another incident. We'll take a look and see. Yeah, able to save it. Oh, okay. I was about to say, I didn't really see that being the cause for caution, but we see it there. So, yeah, Sean gets loose coming into turn 3. Turn 3. You see he's got that damage. Wonder if that played any factor. He gets loose on the bottom. Hell of a job to save it. And then we'll see what happens here. Yeah, the 64.
Finished out.
Yeah, Hunter Jock. I don't know if he got loose or I'm not really sure what happened with Hunter there. He just down a groove and collects the 99. Yeah, I'm not really sure. That's a weird one. I don't know. That's a decent sized break though for Travis George. I mean, that's going to save him a lap or 2 going lap down. So.
Yeah, with that, currently Travis George, he is 26, 3 laps down.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely could have been a lot worse, but there still are quite a few cars ahead of him in line for that lucky dog position. So he's going to have to really manage. And again, with these cautions coming out, it is going to help, but he's not going to be able to gain any track position really. And I mean, he can try to fight and try to get his way towards the front end of that lucky dog list, but at what risk do you run it? I mean, you're already back there in the back of the field now. Do you risk going for it and maybe getting caught up in some action, or do you just try to hope and pray that the race will fall into your lap here with some more cautions?
I definitely think it's hoping for more cautions at this point and keeping his truck clean and staying out of the trouble and seeing what he can do on that part of things. But with David Meacham pitting at lap 33, he got 4 tires. He came out of pits P13, and he's currently in P10. So he's gained 3 positions since the last caution we've had, which is not bad for David Meacham. Wonder if tires are playing a factor right now. Is he was saying it 3 wide coming into turn 3, so we're going 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back right now currently as Patrick Camburn opts to take the outside line on restart here. Bryce Tucker on the inside. Another gap between him and Camburn though. Truck length gap is Corey Moore is going to be able to go on the outside of Tucker here on the restart. So we'll see what happens here. Green flag is out.
Huge stack up on the bottom. Yeah. Again, Bryce Tucker, they really got to try to shuffle him out here on these restarts. But we see a little bit of a stack up there. And yeah, I mean, to your point, David Meacham taking tires, and you can already see the momentum he has. He does have a teammate in front of him here, the number 31 of Matthew Chase, so he's going to be a little bit more patient with his teammate, but some of these drivers elected to save a set towards the end of this race may not be a bad idea with how important tires are here at a track like Bristol.
Meacham on the outside right now, currently up at P7, following his teammate and trying to go 3 wide again.
Yeah, gets to the outside now of Dustin Bloodworth. Again, kind of at a roadblock right now, the teammate Matthew Chase ahead of him, but so far he gets that momentum on the outside, but Bloodworth fighting hard on the bottom. Looks like Matthew Chase is going to start moving down in the corners. Meacham gets a little loose off the exit of the corner, so that's going to put Bloodworth ahead for now, but Meacham able to get the run on the high side once again. Taps the wall a little bit, though.
Yeah, drivers all pretty much single filed out in the back. Not really any battles going on. A little bit of side-by-side action, though, going to turn 4, but all able to stay straight as I think people are just kind of riding it out right now.
Yeah, Bristol's a track that, is really relying on getting a rhythm, so some of these guys may be looking to just try to settle in and get some of these laps logged under the belt. Of course, Patrick Cameron going to be looking to run away with it as much as he can. Bryce Tucker still holding on to that P2. Corey Moore doing a hell of a job. He's up 9 spots from the start. Bobby Grady up 6 spots, and then Matthew Chase rounding out your top 5. He's plus 17 from the start of this race. So far, the biggest mover of the race.
And as I'm looking into turns 1 and 2, people are more happy getting loose there, able to save it. As I was saying, though, a lot of drivers opting to take that high line in turn 1 and 2 and run on that middle line. Oh, wrecking on the front stretch.
Oh, big contact. Yeah, you mentioned it. Sean had gotten loose the previous corner and hop on board with him. I don't know if he ever really got time to collect it. Take a look back here and see what happens. Yeah, Andy Berry gets loose on the high side after Happick does, and nowhere to go for Happy. And then, of course, we see cars coming in. Ken and Cook trying to get the truck slowed down, but ends up looping it and makes pretty hard contact with our points leader, Sean Happick. But it looks like that rear end did snap back on magically, so damage may not be as bad as it looked, but we'll see.
Yeah, quite a few trucks collected there, and hopefully, I don't see any meatballs or anything like that. Not even any black flags or nothing. So I feel like everyone should be good to go. Maybe just a little bit of damage here, but everyone able to stay out. And as we're coming to 53 laps out of 140 currently.
Yeah, so that's going to put Sean Happick back in the field. He had a top 10 truck so far, but I mean, again, you look at guys like, number 17 and Matthew Chase. He's up 17 spots. Matthew Chase up 17 spots. Corey Moore up 9 from where he started. So some pretty big movers. And then some other drivers in the opposite direction. Kenan Cook down 12. Travis George down 23 spots with that penalty. Chris Weiniger, of course, had that early contact with Sean Happick. So he's down 19 as well. So a lot of movement throughout the field. Some for better and some for worse, unfortunately.
I think we only have one car right now, or one truck, sorry, who is opted to stay in pit road and he's not racing. Is Gary Wright in the 59. But we have 19 trucks on the lead lap, and Fry in the 14 is the first truck lap down.
Another thing to talk about too as well, we've mentioned the Lucky Dogs a few times tonight, but one thing that we're more than likely not going to see at any point during this race are wave rounds. There's going to be guys at every caution that are more than likely going to be staying out on track. So, some of the 1.5 miles and those other tracks, you might see guys, everybody comes down to pit road, and, even if you're not the lucky dog, you might be able to catch a wave round, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a whole lot of that here tonight. And I wonder, we'll have to keep an eye on this number 7 again of Bryce Tucker on these restarts and see if he can try to get a good launch here on Patrick Camburn. And we saw a pretty big checkup on the last restart. We'll see if that happens again, and if it does, if it may be cause for caution.
Hopefully the space is given. We got some fast guys on the bottom. Pace car is off. A little bit better lined up this time by Patrick Camburn, though, with a good jump. It's Bryce Tucker again, very slow on the throttle. Not able to keep that bottom line up near Patrick Camburn as he now opts to be P2 fighting right now with Bobby Grady.
Looks like one
Fucking
truck
trouble
getting
on the
loose.
backstretch.
Yeah, Zachary Tyler, I believe it was. Hangs on to it though for now. Still see some beating and banging. Everybody trying to get it sorted out. We stay green. Believe that was the 29 of Zachary Tyler gets loose on the exit of the corner. And now the caution flag is out once more. It looks like potentially Corey Moore or Matthew Chase involved in this one.
Happy rear ends the 45. Matthew Chase meatballed currently. John Shields with a black flag as well. Trying to sort everything out.
Yeah, take a look at the 45 of Corey Moore here. Riding the bottom line, Chase up high, kind of in the middle. Corey Moore just goes up a little bit. That's a little bit of weird contact there. I don't know if I don't want to call that net code. I mean, the initial contact was definitely contact, but the reaction that those two trucks had when they got the inside wall was violent there for no reason. But you see Corey Moore just looks like he may have got a little loose, and he's trying to chase the truck up, and unfortunately the space that he is trying to occupy there is already occupied, and you see it here. Get a little bit of a better angle. You see that truck starting to yaw out just a little. Looks like Corey Moore he doesn't really make a correction, just drifts up expecting Chase to be a little bit higher up than he is, and makes one contact and then kind of finishes him out here, nowhere to go. And again, really weird reaction here with these trucks off the wall. You see Corey Moore just kind of slingshots Chase. Looks like Chase was already meatballed at that time though, so no additional harm there.
I do want to say that drivers at pit on lap 33, there's 4 of them in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely making a lot of headway, and you wonder if they could be making more if we stayed in our green. I mean, these quick cautions are going to continue to help these guys who haven't pit yet, because it's going to help just really get those heat cycles on the tires, and the advantage isn't going to be as great as, you know, maybe it was if they were off a fresh stop. But see a few cars on pit road right now electing to get some damage repaired, and yeah, so far, you know, we had a good little stint there, but looks like some guys just pushing it a little bit too hard. It's our 6th caution of the night here, so caution every 10 laps right now is what we're on pace for. So hopefully we can get this thing cleaned up here a little bit, start making some green flag laps. And so far it looks like the pace car is definitely leading the most laps here tonight. We'll see if that trend continues though. Still plenty of time left.
Lights are off on the pace car currently as drivers go 2 by 2 down the pack. Huge topic for discussion tonight is Bryce Tucker and the restarts. Excuse me, it's looking like it's a repeat story here, as that inside line does just not want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's we talk about it time and time again about how important it is to be that control car, and Bryce Tucker tries to time the restart, gets a little bit of a better jump, but still Patrick Camber able to take advantage of being the control car, but that gap is not as big as it's been on some of these other restarts.
We had 2 drivers there, Sean Happy and Andy Berry, and also John Shields with black flags currently from that restart.
One going around on the inside wall of the 52 of Sean Happick. Caution out again. See if he had any help. That truck is pretty beat up. I know he's probably trying to save onto that fast repair, but wonder if the track conditions and the condition of the truck may call for cause of go ahead and getting that thing repaired. You can see the fender already off the truck at the time he spins it, so Sean Happick definitely going to be fighting some handling issues with the damage on that truck for sure.
Yeah, for track temp right now, I think we're at 72 degrees track temp, so not overly cold, but not overly hot either. So I think it's just to keep these green flags keep going here. Should be good to go, but
yeah, I think we're at that point where everybody keeps expecting these to just be caution fest, and everybody's trying to push for as many positions as they can on these restarts, and you know, we're seeing that, and just honestly a lot of self spins here tonight, which is kind of surprising. You know, maybe some of these drivers will start to see what's going on, and I don't really blame Sean Happy right there. I mean, again, the damage on his truck, I know it from firsthand, it's definitely detrimental, but nonetheless, some of these drivers might just need to try backing it down just a little bit and log some laps, and you know, just try to get in that rhythm. Again, we talk about it all the time, how important rhythm is at any track, let alone a super speedway like this. And you know, I think Bristol is kind of the outlier of the short tracks, just considering the fact that it is such a high speed, high bank track. I mean, it really reminds me a lot of Dover with some of its characteristics. Of course, it's a concrete track. You've got high banking as well. So some of these drivers maybe just not used to that surface. I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully we can get settled in here and start making a hell of a run and get some green flags going here.
I like to really compare this track to Dover. I know Dover's got more of a parallel 1-2 to the 3 and 4, but with the concrete, the banking, you know, just how easy it is to kind of get on that right rear and spin it there. I like to really compare these two tracks, and it shows. I know this track's a lot smaller than Dover as well, but when it comes down to just the finesse and the line and whatnot they're using, it's brings a little more excitement to the racing and to the drivers on track. And as Travis George was saying, you know, he put in a lot of time and practice into this track to make sure he was good to go, and he was running some pretty quick lap times there. I think he's actually got the fastest lap of the race currently. So it's we'll see how that happens though as we come into the green flag right now.
Yeah, and again, restarts the topic of discussion here tonight. David Meacham, though, look at that truck. You talked about it all night. P3, or excuse me, P4, but going to be started directly behind our leader, so he is going to get the advantage here on this restart.
The next car that pit on the same lap he did is in 7th. It's Hunter.
Hunter Jock?
Don't worry, Jock, that's it, yes. Good restart, though, from Patrick Camburn as they go 2x2 behind him. Bryce Tucker able to get up on top of David Meacham there. Is David Meacham now P3?
Yeah, and we're coming to the conclusion of the second stage here. White flag in stage number 2. Patrick Camburn looks like he should have this one covered up pretty easy. We'll see if Meacham is able to complete the pass on Bryce Tucker here.
In trouble! He flipped over! He blew over! Big damage! That's the 34 of Kendon Cook. I think he's done.
Yeah, hopping on board with him now. Let's see what happens here. I know Kendon Cook too does VR as well. So, oh yeah, big contact. He just gets loose on the high side and tries to chase the truck and nowhere to go for the cars around him. He makes contact with the 60 of Brad Doer as he goes down. That shoots him up head on with the outside wall. Chris Weiniger nowhere to go, and yeah, Kendon Cook spinning like a top, nowhere for Andy Berry to go either. And Kendon Cook goes for a wild ride at Bristol. I've never seen a truck flip here before, or a car for that matter. So definitely going out with some style points, that is for sure. Yeah, now it looks like
at least that helped. I don't know if his engine's done. I don't know if he had to tow to pits, but at least with getting flipped back over there, he was able to get back on his wheels. But I think he opted to tow to pits.
Yeah, and we see a lot of these drivers going down pit road as well. Looks like right now Brad Doer and Danny Gross and Sean Happick looking to stay out. And Sean Happick's still on the lead lap. And I wonder, did he use that fast repair? He did. So from being up front to being out back in the chaos to now being back up front in the 3rd place position, a little bit of misfortune may turn into some good luck here for Sean Happick here.
Now we talk about fuel strategy. I know you said 75 laps. The drivers that haven't pit, who did not pit this time by, so that would be Brad Doer, Sean Happick, Danny Gross, Matthew Chase. Those are the only 4 trucks that did not pit this time by. They pit. Brad Doer pit on lap 42, Danny Gross on lap 66 with Happy, and Matthew Chase lap 59. They don't make it on fuel if we go green flag.
Yeah, but that's what I was just about to say. That is a very, 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 very big if. 7 cautions, 73 laps, again, about a caution every 10 laps. So if that trend continues, I think they will be just fine on fuel. It's just going to be a matter on if and when they come down and try to take some extra tires.
But when it comes down to tire strategy, Happy and Danny Gross probably took tires at lap 66. And the other drivers that pit this time by probably took 4 tires. David Meacham's one of them. Brad Doer, though, lap 42, he needs to pit and take tires. Nobody else has to pit. He's the only one in this equation that has to pit and have tires. I think he's going to be one near the end of the race. You're going to see blow by people as the heat cycles go through because he's going to be on the fresh set of tires in this race.
Yeah, it looks like we're trying to get reorganized here with the pace car. We should be all set and ready to go. Bryce Tucker, though, again, another big gap. I know we've had some restart issues here with trying to get the field stacked up, and there we go. It looks like now he's going to be sucking back up to the leader of Brad Dorr here. We'll see if he's able to get a good restart, see how this bottom line does. Danny Gross, again, kind of doing the same thing. I wonder if it's just some visibility issues out there for some of these guys on these restarts. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but that bottom line probably going to stack up pretty hard. And there it is. Danny Gross, though, actually gets one hell of a restart.
Black flag for Danny Gross.
I was just about to say, wonder if that's going to come at the expense of a black flag. So right now, you see Danny Gross running away with it, but he is out of the equation for now. So these trucks here that we see are going to be your trucks battling for the lead. Contact. Looks like 29 is in the wall, maybe. A lot of trucks involved in this one.
99, the 11 is in pit road, the 14. I don't know who else is involved with that one, but the 60, I think, as well.
No, the 60 was out front. Yeah, Zachary Tyler just gets loose on the entry of the corner. Nowhere for these guys to go. Hard contact with the 99. The 14 involved, the 11 as well. Yeah, Zachary Tyler, if he doesn't have a fast repair, he is going to be done for this race.
Just before that caution came out, I did notice that a lot of the black flags did get cleared for that restart. So Danny Gross is still in the running in P1 currently.
Interesting. We'll try to see if I can get with our race control and see what's going on here.
But as we did say, there has been a lot of restart issues. iRacing is also a developing company. I know they are pretty well situated, but from time to time again, we've even had issues in the past, Bryce, when you and I are racing on iRacing.com, and we have our unfortunate mishaps with iRacing and some of the things that they call. It's since the game calls it, the simulator calls it, itself. It's a little bit of hit and miss inconsistencies, so it's probably something they're just trying to counteract right now to make sure the flow of the race keeps moving smoothly. Nonetheless, though, we are currently on lap 79, coming to lap 80 under caution. 140 laps in total. We are over halfway down the race. I don't know who you picked on the broadcast to win this race, or the podcast this week, but has your pick changed? Do you still think your pick is going to win?
I would love to tell you, but I don't know if I actually ended up picking anybody. And if I did, I damn sure don't remember. So I'm going to go here on the fly. And I mean, I got to say, Cameron's looking pretty quick out there. He might be looking to make it 2 in a row.
Cameron is looking pretty quick. Tucker still P5, though, behind Cameron. And David Meacham currently P6 on the outside line behind Cameron, actually. So there's definitely some fast guys that we saw from qualifying, but don't look back any farther than you have to, because Danny Gross up 10 positions and Brad Dewar up 14 in the top spot right now. So definitely a big battle going on in the front.
Gotcha. And yeah, I got a little bit of clarification there on that black flag. So it looks like Danny Gross did have another number. I thought that looked familiar, but he did have another number. The original driver of the 5 did have to forfeit his number. So the 5 got a black flag due to the IPL list, and that was an invalid penalty. So that is why that flag got cleared. But nonetheless, on the restart, Danny Gross, Sean Happick running away with this restart so far.
Yeah, great jump from Happy there as he's able to get behind Danny Gross and, get behind Danny Gross. There you go. And have a good restart, but don't look back, because Patrick Cameron taking the inside, trying to get that second spot from Happy.
Yeah, I know Patrick is one of those drivers that pit on one of those most recent cautions and was able to get a lot of track position back. That was kind of what the one of the issues there was on the restart. So Patrick Cameron, I do believe, has some of the freshest set of tires up front, and yet again we have a
big wreck in turn 2. Big wreck in turn 2. We still have trucks trying to straighten it out right now. Get back on the back stretch and get ahead of these leaders.
I didn't hit you, Matthew. I'm glad I didn't.
Time and time again, we see that hard racing happening in the back because track position is key. Informative words there from Bryce as he's telling the drivers how to kind of hold these cars together there as they are spinning, as you would also hear that from the spotters and the crew chiefs from the Cup Series IRL actually racing and whatnot. But looking back at our standings, we have Andy Barry currently in the 19th position, 1 lap down. He's the only car only truck 1 lap down, as the next person behind him is the 30 truck of Aaron Crichton, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, and
Close.
he is 3 laps down.
Yeah, Aaron Creighton is going to be, like you said, the next one down 3 laps. And yeah, it's getting real interesting here. The IPL list is probably about to get a lot bigger after this race as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think Matthew Chase is currently retiring from the race as well, as he's had some issues with his truck all night, and I think he said he is done for tonight with the damage he has. I'm unsure if that's actually happening though. Just hearing race chatter and whatnot, I'm trying to decipher what is happening. Is a lot of the drivers are trying to figure out what is going on and just how their trucks are performing currently on this track. A lot of drivers currently.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
No, you first. You first.
There's a lot of the drivers trying to communicate with each other, and a lot of apologies going out. As we're going 1 to green this time by, as pace car should be coming down pit road.
Yeah, Danny Gross gets a good restart there. Patrick Camburn and Sean Happick able to kind of stick with him there. So we've seen some of these other guys get, some better advantages on the restart, but nonetheless, Danny Gross to the point, and already look at how important those fresher rubbers are on the 84 of Patrick Camburn. He is coming quick, trying to get to the rear end of Danny Gross.
He is putting the pressure, running that bottom line in 1 and 2, trying to just get a good drive off. But Danny Gross, able to really pull off the corner because he's running that top line. But David Meacham up to P5 now as he gets by Brad Dewar in the 60 truck, and they're 2x2 in front of him. A bit of contact between Dustin Bloodworth and the one of Bobby Grady as they get able to keep it straight. Coming out of turn 2 there, last lap, as the 93 is spinning down the pit road. That's Thomas Long.
Able to correct it and hold on to it, so we stay green. Yeah, David Meacham now looking to try to use a little bit of his advantage as well. Gets by the 52 of Sean Happick, trying to hunt down the number 7 of Bryce Tucker. Patrick Camburn now on the inside of Danny Gross, looking to make the pass. We got a little bit of lap traffic on up ahead. Patrick Camburn going to use him as a little bit of a pick, and he's able to get to the point. Patrick Camburn back to your race lead.
Yeah, Bryce Tucker trying to run some clean laps here. As the 34 gets a little bit loose in front of David Meacham. There is the last 5 average for David Meacham. He's currently running some of the fastest times, just not faster than the leaders. He's getting by lap traffic because everyone's pretty much single filed out right behind the leaders.
Yeah, these guys might be just now starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. So we will use this time to go ahead and hit you with a little bit of Grow Masters Crank It Up here at Bristol Motor Speedway. There you have it. That was your Crank It Up, sponsored by Grow Master Dewormer and Minerals here. Able to get some good green flag runs here. Hopefully the caster curse does not come into play. Seen it happen all too often.
I've been really watching Patrick Camburn on these last couple laps here, and he is running a 15.22 last 5 average. He's one of the fastest trucks on track, as Travis George still has the fastest lap though. He's running double bottom, and he's rolling it through that turn.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to mention. Some of these trucks might start to get a little bit uncomfortable here with the lack traffic coming into play. Some of the guys that maybe have been sticking more so to one line over the other now going to have to move and adjust their lines based on where this lap traffic sits. So we'll see if that comes to the advantage or disadvantage of some of these drivers up here in the top 10.
A lot of 2x2 battles currently in the 10th position area is Mike Kufel, and I don't think the 30 is on the lead lap. It's Aaron Creighton. He's 4 laps down.
Yeah, Aaron Creighton out for a position, but the 45 of Corey Moore behind Mike Kufel is for a position.
I think time and time again when we're up here in the broadcast booth, Bryce, there is just so much to look at. All these trucks are doing a phenomenal job right now, keeping it green. As we got 30 to go, currently in the final stage of this race. We look at Danny Gross there, falling off a little bit. He hasn't pit since lap 66 currently.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. I didn't even really see that. Yeah, so we'll run through your top 10 here really quickly. Patrick Camburn, Bryce Tucker, David Meacham, Dustin Bloodworth, Sean Happig, Danny Gross, Bobby Grady. Looks like Brandon Dayhoff makes a pass on Brad Dewar for the P8 spot. Then Mike Kufel rounding out your top 10 here so far. Lap 112 of 140 here. We're coming up on just a couple handfuls laps here to go here. Just about 27 laps to go. Intensity is going to start ramping up here shortly.
I do want to say top 4 all pit lap 72. The 5th and 6th positions pit lap 66. And then Brad Dewar, I know he's in the 9th spot right now, but he pit on lap 42. He is begging for a caution right now to get those tires off his truck.
Yeah, I would imagine here with this stint that we've had, I would say probably the next caution that we get, if these guys do have a set of Goodyear rubbers left, I'm sure this would be the time that they would come down and elect to use them. But if this stays green, I mean, as you said, Patrick Camburn, I believe, has the freshest tires on the track here. He pit on, let's see here, 71. So all these top 4 drivers all pit on lap 71. Again, Danny Gross pit a little bit earlier than that on lap, I believe, let's see. Danny Gross pit on lap 65, so he's on 6 lap older tires. Sean Happig pit on lap 65 as well. So those 2 drivers, like you said, definitely going to be praying for a caution as we come just inside 24 to go at the last great Coliseum.
Mike Kufel's in the pits. And we have Matthew Chase. He pit lap 84. He's currently up in 12th. He's gained 3 spots in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, so now we're getting to that point where we're going to start seeing which drivers are really able to manage their tires. Camburn running away with it, though. Gap getting a little bit larger here. As I say that, it goes down a little bit, but that gap just over 2.5 seconds to Bryce Tucker.
A lot of drivers electing to use that bottom line right now, just trying to roll the turns and save their tires for the last little bit of the run. As Mike Kufel going back into pits now, as he just called over the radio saying he's pitting one more time.
Yeah, I wonder if he had an unsafe pit entry there. So that's really going to hurt him as well.
Looking at this battle right now for 4th position is Happy and Meacham going side by side. Happy's putting the pressure on Meacham, trying to take that inside line. He does, and the Bobby Grady able to pass Meacham as well as they go side by side coming to the start-finish line. So top line not working out right now for some of these drivers.
Yeah, Bobby Grady looking to take advantage of the attack from Sean Happig. He does clear Meacham, so either Meacham is really starting to fall off here or he's trying to save a little bit of tire because they all pit around the same lap. So I wonder if we got a little bit of strategy coming into play, but I don't think now's the time with just 18 to go here on the lap counter.
Look at Bryce Tucker as he's now moved the gap from 2.5 to 1.8 seconds behind our race leader currently, as he's getting through lap traffic a little faster than Patrick Camburn is. So currently at this rate, within the next 6 laps, they might be bumper to bumper here.
Yeah, we hear him talk about it all the time as well on the real NASCAR broadcast. Everybody always fights the leader, trying to stay on the lead lap or stay on their current lap, but once the leader gets by him, there's really nothing to fight for. So usually the second and third cars in line tend to get around the leader a little bit faster than, or excuse me, the second and third place cars usually get around the lap car a little bit faster than the leader.
As time keeps getting lower and lower, as now we have 12 trucks on the lead lap, as the green flag pit stops have been happening for some of these drivers there that were running in the top 15, 20 area, I'd say. As we go 3 wide into turn 2 currently. Able to keep it straight, no incidents, no issues there. This is exactly what Patrick Camburn wants to see, but Bryce Tucker also wants to see it too, because he's closing that gap ever so slightly.
Yeah, gap now just to 1.4 seconds. A little bit of variance there as they go through traffic and go through the corners, but this is where Tucker's got to try to make up a lot of time. You see Patrick Camburn mixed up with quite a few lap cars in front of him. He gets around Wilder, and he's now looking to attack on the number 19 of Andre Carvalho. But Andre's going to be kind of slowing him down a little bit here. That's going to help Bryce Tucker try to close that gap. Now gap 2, just under a second.
Now we saw some of the controversy that happened last week at Michigan with Bryce Tucker and some of the drivers when he was a lap down. Do you think the bumper would be used to kind of push Patrick Camburn out of the way so then Bryce Tucker can get that inside line? Because he is rolling on the bottom right now. He's only 0.7 seconds away from Patrick Camburn.
I mean, if Tucker gets to him here with within 5 to go, I don't think he needs to use the bumper. That doesn't mean he will or he won't, but with how quick he's been able to catch Camburn, I don't really think he's going to need to use it. I think he'll be able to just go right through.
A lot of battles happening on the track as Brad Dewar loses a spot to Kyle, 27 truck. I think that's Kyle Rogers there is able to pick up the 11th spot. As everyone is just doing really good. Ryan Seabolt losing a spot to Kyle Rogers as well. Everyone is going hard, but leader hit the wall. Bryce Tucker is there at the bumper of Patrick Camburn. They go side by side in turn 3. Bryce Tucker, Patrick Camburn out of turn 2. Tucker's got the advantage. Patrick Camburn hit the wall one more time.
Yeah, and there it is. Bryce Tucker gets to your race lead with just 5 to go next time by here at Bristol, and these laps are going to go quick. So let's see, though, big if here. If this race stays green, Bryce Tucker does have the lead here. Patrick Camburn looking to try to attack him, but it looks like Bryce Tucker been able to save his tires a little bit better. They both pit on lap 71. But Tucker has done a far better job managing those tires. As we see Camburn now, gap dropping down to just over or under a second here. And if this rate continues, Bobby Grady might be able to make up here and get to Patrick Camburn, and he might lose even more positions on track.
Just looking at all the drivers that were pushing. Happy currently sitting in 5th spot, passing David Meacham a couple laps ago, going to 4th. He's currently battling Dustin Bloodworth as they go side by side here in turn 3 and 4. Happy into the top 5.
Yeah, trying to hold on to it for now. See, Sean Happick and Dustin Bloodworth, like you said, battling for the 4th place spot. A little bit of lap traffic up here as well. Could get interesting. 3 wide. A little bit of contact. Everybody holds it, but Bryce Tucker crosses the line. 2 to go. He's just praying that he gets back around 2 more corners and sees that white flag to make this race official. Bryce Tucker, your race leader, gets the white flag at Bristol Motor Speedway. 4 more corners to go, and this race will be his.
Doing a really good job right now, just trying to stay out in front and keep from spinning as Patrick Camburn is trying to stay in front of Bobby Grady as they're going to come to the line. Side by side, Bobby Grady able to take it P2. Trouble after the start-finish line. But your race winner, Bryce Tucker.
Go back and watch this. There had a little bit of issue there. Yeah, Bobby Grady pinches down the 84 on the exit, compromises that run, and he is able to beat him to the line. So Bobby Grady in P2 Finally, we see Bobby Grady make his way towards the podium. So there it is, Bryce Tucker, your race winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Sit tight, we'll get these guys ready to go in the booth, and we will be right back. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It looks like we have gathered our top three here to the waiting room. We will start with our third place finisher, the number 84 of Patrick Camburn. Comes away with P3 there. Race was looking good there for you. It looks like maybe the number 7 of Bryce Tucker was just able to manage his tires, but nonetheless, you walk away with a P3 finish. How does it feel?
That feels good. Towards the end there, apparently I burnt too much of my tires in the beginning of that run, and he got the better of me at the end.
Yeah, he was able to do a really good job maintaining those tires, but still a podium finish for you. A lot of chaos out there out on the track tonight. How important was it to try to get back towards the front and get that track position all night to avoid all the chaos?
No, it was really important. I really wanted to make sure I qualified up front so I could maybe stay out of the hornet's nest back in the 20 to 30 range, and was able to do so. And it was actually a really, really clean race, really fun. I'm surprised we actually got that long green flag run to end it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That long run there kind of helped determine, who had the better speed over the long run, and able to still get it done though. P3, man, before we let you on out of here, is there anybody you want to shout out or thank?
I know my mom and dad are watching tonight, so I just want to shout out to them and the whole HVRL crew for putting this thing together week in and week out.
Yeah, absolutely, Patrick. It's been awesome to have you here. Get yourself another podium in high velocity racing. Congratulations to you. Again, congrats on P3. But now we move on to our second place finisher, the number 1 of Bobby Grady. Finally gets his way on the podium here in High Velocity Racing League. I know it's something that's long overdue, man. How does it feel?
Well, it feels good, especially on a track that I didn't feel too comfortable coming in. I told Bryce, and we were practicing earlier, I said, man, I don't know. I can't keep this thing on the track here. And I don't know what happened. Somehow it came around and feel pretty fortunate.
And we saw you were able to make that last lap pass there on Patrick Camburn coming to the line, and one hell of a close finish there. So, podium, but, you get P2. You're the first loser, but nonetheless, P2, man. Like I said, I know it's long overdue, man. You've been with us here pretty much from the start, and we've been a little bit critical of some of your decisions on track and some of the things that you've done, but you finally put it together here. Do you feel like this is the kick of momentum you need to continue to make your way towards the podium?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I listen, with you and Fontaine and Happy, just give me little pointers here, there, this and that, and trying to be consistent. It's just the stupid little mental mistakes that everybody gets and does until you learn to try to not have them. And that's just what happened here tonight. And congratulations to my teammate, Bryce. I brought him over from road racing and he's doing great. So congratulations to him. And thank you guys. Appreciate putting on this forum for everybody. Yeah,
absolutely, man. And before we let you go, is there anybody you want to officially shout out, or is that cut everybody there for you?
Yeah, obviously I gotta thank Mama. She lets me do this and gives me time and doesn't complain. Matter of fact, halfway through the race, she brought me a glass of iced tea. So I
I appreciate her and everything that she lets me do here. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem at all, man. Again, the number 1 of Bobby Grady finally gets his way onto the podium, but now we talked to the number 7 of Bryce Tucker. Had a good run at Bristol in the Cup Series and unfortunately had a little bit of contact, but get your redemption here tonight, man. It looks like you just had one hell of a tire advantage there on our race leader, and you make up about a 4 or 5 second gap, it seemed like, but you got there really quick, and once you got to him, man, you made pretty quick work of him. How important was it to keep the tires underneath you there for that run?
Yeah, absolutely. I think really hats off to everybody in the lobby that was racing, because what was that, 50, 55 laps? We were green at the end there. That was a huge difference for me because I really was trying to have a racing line at which I had good pace but could save my tires. And about lap 130, I realized I got 10 laps and his pace has fallen off, and I still had the tires underneath me. Did have a little bit of strategy there with some trail braking towards the end to keep the truck turning in, and felt really good. I really like this track. It's just a matter, can you stay clean and can you race it aggressively enough? Obviously, I learned a little bit from the Cup Series, but it's a wonderful track. It's so much fun. It's very rewarding.
Oh yeah, man. Ray, you got anything for our race winner here tonight?
I think our biggest question we had was on a lot of the restarts there. We noticed you were kind of laying back. Did that have anything to play in your strategy tonight? Is you didn't get the best starts on the restart, but you're able to keep out a P2 or P3 there when you were up in the front. Talk to us a little bit about that for tonight.
To be honest, just not enough time up there with those restarts in the top 2. That second place restart is really awkward. The biggest thing is I didn't want to get a penalty. You saw what happened to Travis there. Just paying attention to what iRacing's saying, it kind of gets in my mind a little bit. Just learning that part of it. Most of my restarts and stages, 6th, 7th, 8th place, so I can just play off of the field. Tonight was a little bit different. So still learning. But big thing was just keeping the tires underneath me while maintaining a decent pace. But I got to work on those restarts for sure.
Yeah, well, restarts and all, man, you're able to get it done there on that last green flag run. Congratulations to you. Before we let you on out of here, is there anybody you want to shout out or thank?
As usual, the whole HVRN crew, you guys watched the replay back of our race at Michigan, and you guys did a fantastic job in the booth. How fun was that to watch? So great job, Bryce, Ray, last weekend. All the admin, Sean, for the putting the league on. And everybody that we raced with. I thought tonight went really, really well for the series that this is, the track that it is, and the trucks that, with the truck. So I thought we actually did pretty good as a group tonight. So thank you to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem at all, man. We're glad to have you here. It makes you, a 2-time winner now in high velocity racing. So congratulations on that. We had the race results on in the background, but that is going to conclude our broadcast from here at Bristol Motor Speedway. But don't go too far. We meet you back here again tomorrow. Xfinity action. I believe we are going to be turning right again at Watkins Glen in the Xfinity car. Going to be an awesome race to be a part of, so stay tuned for that. And then, of course, we will catch you on Friday as well for some more Cup Series action where we return to left-hand turns only as we go to Dover. So appreciate everybody for tuning in and being a part of this broadcast, and appreciate all the drivers on track for being here every week and doing what they do. And race really cleaned up there at the end, and it was awesome to see. So congratulations to all those guys, and we look forward to seeing you here tomorrow for some more Xfinity racing. We'll see you guys.